What kind of mind dares to kill God? Not with a weapon, not with violence, but with a sentence, God is dead. 3 words that detonated the foundation of Western civilization. Friedrich Nietzsche didn't say this with glee. He said it with grief. He wasn't celebrating, he was warning. A storm was coming and we weren't ready. In a world that had long relied on inherited beliefs, divine commandments, and moral absolutes, Nietzsche saw a hollowing, a slow erosion of meaning. Religion, morality, truth, they were no longer sacred. They were habits, echoes of a faith that had died long ago. And yet, no one noticed. Nietzsche did, and he screamed into the void. This is not the story of a madman. This is the story of a prophet. A mind so sharp it cut through centuries of illusion. A voice so powerful it still echoes through philosophy, psychology, and even pop culture. This is Nietzsche in 10 minutes. And if you listen closely, it just might change the way you see everything. Nietzsche didn't simply reject religion. He diagnosed it. He saw Christianity not as evil, but as exhausted. A belief system born from weakness, not strength. A morality created not by those in power, but by those who had none. He called it slave morality, a system built on guilt, submission, and self-denial. It glorified meekness, obedience, and suffering. Why? Because the powerless needed a way to justify their condition. They couldn't dominate the strong, so they condemned strength itself. In contrast, master morality, the morality of the noble, the powerful, celebrates life, vitality, and self-affirmation. It does not ask for permission. It creates values from within. Nietzsche's critique was not limited to religion. He challenged the very idea of truth. What if truth isn't absolute? What if it's just a perspective, a useful illusion? In Beyond Good and Evil, Nietzsche writes, "There are no facts, only interpretations." This wasn't relativism, it was revelation. He was pulling back the curtain, exposing how even our most sacred beliefs are rooted in psychology, not reality. We cling to morality and truth like lifeboats. But Nietzsche warns, those lifeboats are leaking, and maybe, just maybe, we need to swim. So what happens when all the old gods are dead? When morality is questioned, truth is blurred, and meaning dissolves, you face the abyss. Nietzsche called it nihilism, the collapse of all values, the terrifying realization that there may be no inherent meaning, no divine plan, no eternal truth. But here's where most people get Nietzsche wrong. He wasn't promoting despair. He was confronting it, head on. He saw 2 kinds of nihilism: passive nihilism, where people sink into depression, apathy, escapism, and active nihilism, where the collapse becomes a creative act, a clearing of old rubble to make space for something new. To look into the abyss is not to fall. It is to be tested. He who fights with monsters must take care not to become a monster. And if you gaze long into an abyss, the abyss also gazes into you. The abyss reveals who you are, and who you are willing to become. In a world without imposed meaning, will you curl up in fear or rise and create your own? At the core of Nietzsche's vision is not despair, but transformation. He introduces a concept that pulses through everything he wrote: the will to power. This isn't about domination or control. It's deeper. It's the inner force that drives every living thing to expand, to evolve, to express itself fully. It's what moves the artist to create, the seeker to transcend, the child to grow. The will to power is life's engine, but in modern society it's often smothered. We're trained to conform, to obey, to numb our desires and silence our instincts, to play roles instead of becoming real. Nietzsche asks, are you living your truth or someone else's script? To embrace the will to power is to say yes to life, even its chaos, even its suffering. It's to become the sculptor of your soul, carving, Meaning from the raw marble of experience. This is not ego. It's emergence. You are not born to blend in. You are born to burn, to become who you truly are. If the old values are dead, what rises in their place? Nietzsche offers an answer, not a rule book, but a vision. The Übermensch, the Overman. Not a superhero, not a dictator, but a metaphor. The Übermensch is the human being who creates his own values, who is not bound by dogma, shame, or herd morality, who does not ask, "What should I do?" but declares, "This is who I am." In Thus Spoke Zarathustra, Nietzsche describes him as the meaning of the earth, the one who affirms life not despite suffering, but because of it, who dances in the face of chaos. But this path is not easy. He offers a haunting test, the eternal recurrence. Imagine living your life, every choice, every moment, over and over again, forever. Would you rejoice? Or despair? The Übermensch is the one who would say, yes, yes to this life, yes to its beauty and its brutality, yes to all of it, because he does not wait for meaning. He becomes it. Near the end of his life, Nietzsche broke. He collapsed in the street, weeping over a horse being whipped. He was never the same again. But was it madness or something else? In his final writings, Exe Homo, the Antichrist, the Dionysian poems, his words take on a fevered intensity. Some see delusion, others see prophecy. Nietzsche had looked too deeply into the heart of humanity. He saw the coming spiritual crisis, the death of certainty, the rise of nihilism, the collapse of truth, and it crushed him. But he never stopped writing. He warned us. He begged us to prepare, to awaken before it was too late, to stop clinging to borrowed beliefs and begin the dangerous work of becoming. Maybe he paid the price for seeing too clearly. Maybe madness is just what happens when one soul tries to hold the weight of humanity's awakening alone. No thinker has been more misused, twisted, and misquoted than Nietzsche. The Nazis tried to hijack his concept of the Übermensch. Pop culture turned his radical wisdom into edgy slogans, and his own sister, who edited and distorted his work after his collapse, helped spread a poisoned version of his legacy. But Nietzsche hated nationalism. He despised anti-Semitism. He rejected blind obedience in any form. His philosophy was never about superiority. It was about liberation, a liberation that's terrifying because it offers no crutches, no ready-made answers, only the raw, unfiltered truth that you are responsible for your own becoming. Misunderstood, Nietzsche becomes dangerous. Understood, he becomes divine fire. Handle his words carefully. They are not for the faint of heart. So we return to the beginning. God is dead. But now you understand it was never about religion, it was about meaning and responsibility and courage. Nietzsche was not trying to destroy you. He was daring you to wake up, to stop sleepwalking through borrowed beliefs, to tear off the masks, to stare into the abyss and find something sacred staring back. Yourself. You are not a vessel to be filled. You are a force to be unleashed. You are not here to follow. You are here to become. Will you stay in the safety of the herd, or will you rise as your own creator? Nietzsche's voice still echoes across time, not as commandment, but as invitation. Will you dare to answer? What if everything you believe about truth, morality, and meaning was a comfortable lie? Friedrich, Nietzsche didn't come to comfort you. He came to confront you. He wasn't trying to fix society, he was trying to burn it down, philosophically, spiritually, psychologically, but not out of hatred, out of a relentless hunger for truth. He once said, "I am not a man, I am dynamite." Nietzsche didn't write for the masses. He wrote for the few who feel something off in the world, the ones who can't go back to pretending. His mission was simple. Take a hammer to everything that pretends to be truth and see what breaks. Not to destroy for fun, but to test, to see which values ring hollow and which ones still echo with life. He believed most people were living someone else's dream, obeying values they didn't choose, repeating beliefs they never questioned. So he asked, what would happen if you dared to live without lies? This is not a comfortable journey, but it's a necessary one, and if you're still here, you're already feeling the fire. God is dead, God remains dead, and we have killed him. No other phrase in philosophy has hit harder, or been more misunderstood. Nietzsche wasn't celebrating the death of God. He was mourning it, because when God dies, meaning dies with him, and that's what terrified Nietzsche. Science had risen, religion had declined, and yet, no one was ready for the consequences. Without God, who decides right and wrong? Without heaven, why be good? Without eternal truth, what do we live for? Nietzsche saw the modern world drifting, full of comfort, but empty of soul. A world that kept the rituals of belief but forgot why they existed. He called it nihilism, not the cheerful kind that says nothing matters, so have fun. No, this was darker. The slow, creeping realization that the ground beneath you isn't there anymore. People think the death of God made us free. But Nietzsche knew the truth. It made us lost. And in that spiritual collapse, he saw two paths: fall into despair or rise into something new. But that something would require the birth of a new kind of human.